It would take about 2 hours to go from Tokyo to Peking by non-stop jet if one could fly there directly. As Japan and China have no formal relations, however, we had to fly to Hong Kong first, and we entered China from there. We then went north from Canton through the vast expanse of China to Peking, the journey from Tokyo to Peking taking in actuality 2 full days. At the time we arrived in Peking, the Japanese newspapers were filled with sensational accounts of the great proletarian cultural revolution. There were even many reports that all of China was in a state of turmoil and confusion. Peking, however, was calm and full of life. A memorial to the heroes who fell in the liberation struggle. From all over China, multitudes of Red Guards have gathered in the capital. In front of street photographers taking souvenir photographs, Red Guards form long lines waiting their turn. There was also a group of Red Guards reading quotations from Chairman Mao Zedong. The railroad was exactly on time. The regular express train takes 7 hours to go from Peking to Shanghai, where it stops for 10 minutes. People enjoy the sight of the Great Wall from the bridge of the station. The Great Wall, which runs in an east-west direction in the mountain regions of northern China, was built in ancient times to guard against invasion by the northern tribes. Shanghai, which is located at the eastern end of the Great Wall, where the mountains meet the sea, now, as in the past, is the key point through which the traffic flows connecting the northeast with the center of China. Free hot water service. In August 1966, we entered the Northeast, known abroad as Manchuria, a name the Chinese no longer use, as it is a reminder of the 1930s when Japan, installing a puppet regime to effect its colonial rule, attempted to establish it as an independent country separate from the rest of China. At present, it is one of the main industrial areas of the People's Republic of China. The Sungari River, which runs through the city of Harbin, had been subject to frequent major floods before the liberation, taking many lives and destroying much property. In 1957, 500,000 people worked for 3 months and built an embankment 120 miles long. It was the first major construction project undertaken by the people of Harbin after the foundation of the People's Republic of China. Harbin. The former villa of a white Russian has been converted into a sanatorium for workers. Harbin is a city in which many old buildings are preserved. A scene of the great proletarian cultural revolution encountered in Harbin. People reading wall newspapers. Anyone can write down his opinion and paste it on the wall. The Central Committee of the Chinese Communist Party appeals to the people. The appeal says, "The great proletarian cultural revolution is a great revolution that touches people to their very souls and constitutes a new stage in the development of the socialist revolution in our country, a deeper and more extensive stage. Although the bourgeoisie has been overthrown, it is still trying to use the old ideas, culture, customs, and habits of the exploiting classes to corrupt the masses, capture their minds, and endeavor to stage a comeback. The proletariat must do just the opposite. It must meet head-on every challenge of the bourgeoisie in the ideological field and use the new ideas, culture, customs, and habits of the proletariat to change the mental outlook of the whole society." This demonstration of workers and young people is meant to welcome this appeal. It was at the beginning of this summer that the news of Chairman Mao swimming across the Yangtze River was reported. Some years earlier, Chairman Mao had said, "People say that the Yangtze is a very big river. Actually, there is nothing to be afraid of about its size. Isn't United States imperialism very big? It turned out to be nothing when we rebuffed it once. So there are actually some big things in the world that are not to be feared." A day in mid-August, 4 a.m., the grain-producing region of Heilongjiang Province, the Xingfu People's Commune of Xuanzheng County. At dawn, the people of the commune go out to the fields. The land is held in common. The work is done together. We came to China with one central question in mind. This is a land which has been devastated by 100 years of colonial rule and successive wars. Ruled by foreigners and big landlords, the peasants have been deprived of all cultural benefits. With this heritage from the past, what method is the new regime using in its attempt to make the country prosper? What suggestions might the new nations of Asia and Africa, confronted by the same problems, derive from the Chinese method? The Commune Administration Buildings. A people's commune is a political organization which encompasses the functions of local government and administration, such as a town or village, and at the same time is an economic organization which carries out production activities. Land reform and social reform transformed the structure of the peasant village. The production teams, formed on the basis of the residents of each natural village, carry out most of the productive work collectively. Each rural commune, including on the average close to 10,000 people, is made up of numerous adjoining villages or production teams. To make fertilizer, night soil and earth are mixed together. A chemical fertilizer factory under construction in a peasant village which is a suburb of Changchun in Qidin province. All of the machinery was made in China. When both units are finished, it will be capable of producing 12,000 tons of ammonium carbohydrate annually. In a short while, the capacity will be increased to 60,000 tons annually, sufficient to meet the requirements of the 4 adjacent communes. While interviewing Mr. Zhao, the factory head, we became aware that this factory is very different from the usual image of a chemical fertilizer factory. We are familiar with chemical fertilizer factories which have been built on a much larger scale, but those have been built in big industrial cities, not in peasant villages. Mr. Zhao, the factory head, speaks.
The families of the workers also take part in the farming activities of the commune production teams. I myself will continue to live in the office until the factory is finished. In the evenings, I study Chairman Mao's works, review the day's affairs, and prepare for the next day. Our objective is for each county to have a small chemical fertilizer factory. The Southerners have, by and large, already achieved this target, but here in the Northeast, we are now in the midst of construction. If we are successful, food grain production in the Northeast should increase greatly during the course of the third five-year plan.
Shenyang, the biggest industrial city in the Northeast. Population, 3,300,000. China's economic development is built on the concept that agriculture is the basis and industry the leading factor. This differs not only from the advanced industrial countries of Europe and America and from Japan, but from the Soviet Union as well. A factory district with the slogan, "Long live the Chinese Communist Party." The state-owned Shenyang heavy machinery factory with 8,600 employees. Here, China is turning out one unit after another of mining equipment, hydroelectric power generating turbines, rollers for rolling iron and steel, and other heavy producer goods, things which she once had to purchase abroad. Mr. Jin, head of the cutting tool testing division, gives background information to a group of visiting Japanese.
In 1961, owing to natural disasters, our country encountered a number of temporary difficulties. At that time, the Soviet revisionists betrayed our agreements, withdrew their specialists, and cut off the supply of equipment and raw materials. Without heavy rollers, the production at the iron mills had to be halted. The workers were extremely indignant, but there was no equipment with which to make the necessary 4-meter-long cold strip rollers. We thought over the situation in this way. To make rolling machines is to fight against revisionism. It is to emphasize self-reliance in reconstruction. If we rely only on the aid of foreign countries, we can never live satisfactorily. Therefore, everyone felt that to use our own hands and to make them by ourselves was important. Things that foreign countries have, we too can make. We can also make things that foreign countries don't have.
Chairman Mao teaches us the concrete method of doing so. It is to rely on the masses, to arouse the masses, and to have confidence in the masses. If there are many people, there will be much wisdom too.
Mr. Jin received only 4 years of elementary school education before the liberation. Today, having developed hundreds of new cutting tools, he is known throughout the country. He thinks it is the workers' responsibility to make a great effort in guiding young people and to train capable successors. The state-owned Shenyang No. 1 engineering machinery factory. The pride of the factory is that the workers, by their own power, built a mass production system to make standard lathes, which are in great demand. In order to mass produce lathes, it is necessary to grind the foundations efficiently. The imported grinding machines, such as this, grind the many surfaces of the foundation one at a time, but of course, mass production cannot be carried out in this way. The workers got the idea of making a grinding machine which could grind many surfaces simultaneously. First, they made a trial machine by hand. Even this improved efficiency a great deal. Then, with the technicians' cooperation, they designed the refined grinding machine for mass production shown here. Many of those in the design division contributed to this innovation, having graduated from college after the liberation. Mr. Chang, the design division head, is among these. He was originally a laborer, but after receiving a specialist's education at Tsinghua University in Peking, he became the head of the design division of this factory. Speaking about design, he says, "Our technological achievement is the crystallization of the creativity and intelligence of the masses. The key to whether or not we can design and manufacture fine products depends upon whether we rely upon the individual or upon the wisdom and power of the group. This has been proved through the whole process of designing and manufacturing new products in our factory. Unless we follow the mass line in our designing, we cannot do good work." Mr. Chang talks with a worker. In factories all over China, the three-way alliance, that is, the alliance among workers, technicians, and cadres, is very much emphasized. All of the important decisions in the factories are discussed and decided upon by representatives from the three groups. Mr. Jin attends this three-way alliance conference as a representative of the technicians. In every factory, we could see workers participating in management and cadres taking part in physical labor. A workers' residential district, population 163,000, within Shenyang. The homes have steam heat, gas, electricity, water, and sewer services. Morning. A special bus for women workers bringing their children. The construction of this workers' district, a separate town in itself, was begun in 1953 as part of the first 5-year plan. One of the 12 kindergartens in the workers' district. Most of the children are brought every Monday morning by their parents. This kindergarten takes care of the children from Monday morning until late afternoon on Saturday. There are many children from households in which both parents have jobs. Altogether, there are about 300 children. There are 20 kindergarten teachers and 11 nursery teachers taking care of them. There are also another 20 people working at the kindergarten, so that altogether there is one adult for every 6 children. In the educational program, class consciousness, labor, knowledge, and physical education are stressed. This is labor education. The children are becoming accustomed to handling things which surround their own bodies. The monthly charge is 13 yuan, or about $5 in United States currency. It comes to about 10% of the monthly income of an average household in which both husband and wife are working. Today's lunch consists of fried rice, a scallion and egg dish, and spinach soup. After lunch, the children take a nap. A two-shift elementary school. In the afternoon, only the first graders attend. At this school, the number of first graders is equal to the number attending the second through the sixth grades combined. Many children were born soon after the residential district was completed, and they have just reached school age. It is time to learn the national language. Practice in writing the characters with the correct stroke order. The teaching material they are using now is the sentence, "Who calls collecting horse manure dirty?" In a corner of the residential district, a housewives' study group gathers to study quotations from Chairman Mao Zedong. Study meetings such as this are held twice a week by the self-government committee organized on each block. The work undertaken by the committees covers a wide range, also including social education, environmental hygiene, and the study of current events. In the plaza of the residential district, vegetable dealers have piled the Chinese cabbages high. They will be used to make pickles for the winter. A typical worker's home. This is the wife of Mr. Jin, whom we met at the heavy machinery factory during the day. Mrs. Jin's husband will be home late today, as usual. As a model worker, Mr. Jin has received many certificates of merit. These he does not hang on his wall, however, preferring instead to display his favorite poem by Chairman Mao.